What's up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Um, been a second since I dropped one on y'all, but I'm gonna get back on my consistent grind. Been working on that album, trying to get that album ready for y'all, man. We probably looking at mid-December before the Mind Vision album drops. I'll let y'all know when y'all can pre-order that. And but in the meantime, I wanted to talk about something real quick because as many of you might know, all of my real people who rock with me, y'all know that I'm like a huge Rudy Ray Moore fan, huge Dolemite fan, and Dolemite is one of my idols, one of my influences. Um, that when I started in the rap game, he was one of the people who I drew inspiration from in terms of this creativity and humor and incorporating those things into my rap. But they just came out with a movie about Rudy Ray Moore, and I saw the previews like months ago, and I was excited. I just wanted to see how they was gonna do it. I wanted to see if they would do it justice and do a good job in representing Rudy Ray Moore the way that he deserved to be represented, because Dolemite is a person who, in a lot of ways, in my eyes, his career my career kind of mirrors his in certain ways, in that he came up at a time where you had all of these great legendary comics in the game like Richard Pryor and Red Fox and Nipsey Russell and all of these greats that came up in the game. But all of those people I named, they broke through into the mainstream, into the commercial market, and you would see them later on with TV shows. You would see them later on the big screen, and that was something that Rudy Ray Moore was never able to do, and that was something he really, really wanted to do. Now, I'm a little different, only because I came into the knowledge and the understanding of how this industry operates. So it kind of turned me off of being that mainstream guy, because I knew that that was a price to pay for going down that road if you were not able to go down that road on your own terms. And I never been an artist who lets anybody dictate the way I conduct or create my art. So, but the way I say that our careers mirrored each other was because um, Rudy was always the underdog. I always looked at myself as the underdog because um, there was so many people who would be like, "Man, look, K, you just as good as this guy. You just as good as that guy, and you never really get that look that those guys got." And I always, well, in the beginning I didn't, but later on I came to understand why. So it didn't really bother me. Um, but just working what they call the chitlin circuit, which is another name for just the straight up underground. And Rudy Ray Moore would just work the clubs, and the most hood of hood clubs. He would be in those spots, filling them up, making them laugh, turning them out, doing it his way, selling his merchandise himself, doing everything himself. I'm telling you that. So I relate to him because I walked down that same road and still walking down that road. So when the movie came out, I wanted to see how he would be represented in that movie. And Eddie Murphy played Dolemite in the movie, and you know, all commercialized Hollywood industry BS to the side. Just looking at it from a standpoint of being happy that one of my heroes got some recognition. I would say they did a pretty good job, because I know the history of Dolemite. I've seen the documentaries where he's telling his own story himself. Um, I've heard others who have been around him tell the same story. So, according to what I knew about his history, the storyline to the movie was pretty accurate, and I enjoyed watching the movie. I'm not gonna lie. Now, there was some discrepancies in the movie. Any Dolemite fan knows that according to the movie, it was kind of centered around him making the first Dolemite movie. But what they did in the movie, they really combined scenes from the first Dolemite movie and the second movie, which was the Human Tornado. So they kind of made it seem like that was one movie, but they were using clips from both of those movies. But that's petty. That's lightweight. But it was a good movie to watch, but it was kind of a sad reminder of you know the life that Rudy Ray Moore lived, where he spent like probably 50 years, his whole life, trying to break through, trying to be recognized and noticed and get the same kind of recognition that, like I said, the Richard Pryor's and the Eddie Murphys and all these guys got, because he always felt like he was on that same caliber. And in my eyes, he definitely was, or better, you know. So it was kind of sad to watch some of the struggles that he went through. But, you know, I was still happy that now, despite the avenue through which it came, I was happy that um, the world would get a chance to know who he is now on a big level. Because, hood people who grew up in the hood, the black neighborhood, we know who Dolemite is. We grew up listening to the records. Um, but I just always felt like the world deserved to know who he was and who he is. Even though he's passed away, he still lives through his art and through people like me who are just big fans. And I wanted to like just show y'all some stuff. So I go way back with Dolemite, man. This is like VHS, VCR tapes that I got. This the original Dolemite movie. This is Petey Wheatstraw, the Devil's Son-in-Law. Kind of got a little dust on it, but this is the Disco Godfather, one of his movies. This is on VHS, man. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all don't know nothing about that. I got him on DVD too. I got him on the DVD too. I got all that. I got the whole set too, though. And I even got him on cassette. See, I'm Dolemite for real around this piece. And I just keep this stuff put up. But one of my most prized possessions is this. This is an autographed Rudy Ray Moore picture. I think this was from 1995. I got this from Dolemite. I went to see him at a local comedy club here in Houston, and he just reminds me of me. he didn't come through no special doors or nothing like that. He walked right in the front door like everybody else, mixed and mingled with the crowd and to show love, man. And just, I was honored to be able to meet Dolemite on 3 occasions, and it was one of the best things for me that every time I was in his presence, and I ain't acting like we was friends or nothing, like I knew him or nothing. I didn't know him like that, but I was just a big fan. I always let him know when I saw him that I was a big fan, and that there were people like me out here that appreciated what he did and what he represented, and that the work that he had done all those years did not go unnoticed to everybody. And that means a lot to an underground artist. That means a lot to somebody who did it the hard way, who came up on the rough side of the mountain, who didn't get that easy ride. And you just grind and grind and grind. And it hurt me to see um, Dolomite just grinding hard like that, as all in the 70s up until 80 years old. He was still just grinding like that, because he shouldn't have had to still be out there doing it like that. And it's just a testament to how we don't really uplift our legends and our stars like that. It's with all of the fan support that this man had. There's it's no way that he shouldn't have died a millionaire, multi-millionaire. Um, but it's unfortunate. But the movie kind of touched on that, and they did a good job of touching on that. And I would advise anybody to go see it. It's called Dolomite Is My Name. It's on Netflix, and you know, if you just want to, if you just are about the story, forget all of the other stuff, man. Just focus on the story, and then go research Rudy Ray Moore, and check him out, and see what he went through and what he did. Um, of course, they had a lot of controversy behind it, talking about how Eddie Murphy. Some people said Eddie Murphy kind of just used this to kind of resurrect his career, and he never really rocked with Rudy like that when Rudy was alive, and there's evidence to support that, because I always think about the movie Harlem Nights. It's one of my favorite movies. It was an Eddie Murphy movie. It came out in the late 80s. And in that movie, Eddie Murphy had like a bunch of the legendary, iconic black comedians of all time in that movie. He had Richard Pryor in the movie. He had Red Fox in the movie. He had Robin Harris in the movie. He had all these iconic um, comedians that are no longer with us, the legends, but Dolomite wasn't in that movie. So my thing is, why wouldn't you find a small part for Rudy Ray Moore to be in that movie? And you got all these other legends in the movie. So that just speaks to the fact of, like, man, the only people that was really just truthfully rocking with Rudy Ray back in the days was the rappers. Period. The rappers was rocking with Rudy Ray, whether it was Two Live Crew, whether it was Dr. Dre and Snoop and all those cats. Um, they were the ones who were really, really bringing Rudy Ray Moore's name. Big Daddy Kane did a song with him, back in the days, and that reintroduced him to that generation at that time. But the people who were really in positions of power to put him on national platforms, they just didn't do it. I think the closest he came, they put him on Arsenio Hall one time, and you can look all that up on YouTube. You see him on Arsenio Hall. He turned it out, but I just wanted to talk about that as a fan of Rudy Ray Moore, man. Just I watched the movie, and I enjoyed watching the movie, but it kind of hit your boy I was kind of sad because that struggle was real. And that struggle was real all the way to the end, man. And those of us who do everything ourselves, the way I do, the way Point Blank, and a lot of us in the South Park Coalition do, Gangsta Nip, Murder. We do this on our own, and we don't have the machine backing us because, quite frankly, I don't want the machine backing me. I want the people backing me. But sometimes the people don't back you. Sometimes the people who say they love you and that they rock with you, they don't even get behind you to lift you up, to build you up. They don't even do it. And you got a chance to kind of see that, and I was feeling them. So I'd advise anybody to watch that movie, man. But that's all I wanted to talk about on that note. But R.I.P. to the legend, the OG, Rudy Ray Moore, a.k.a. Dolemite. And we'll see y'all soon, man. Peace.